Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Virgo channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to my channel, I'm going to do a general message for Virgo. Now that energy is fluid, roles can be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also, know on this channel and all my channels, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I look at everything. And today we're really going to look at everything. Today we're going to look and see what's in store for you for 2026. So everybody knows I like to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows to see how they played as karmic themes. So you can have whatever it is that you want to, right? We are able to create whatever it is that we want because God made us in its image. But why a lot of times can't we manifest? Well, the reason why is because we have spiritual blockages, and spiritual blockages are a combination between astral energy, which is thought energy, and emotional energy. Held in the body as stress, it's what becomes your energy vibration. The universe corresponds to that energy. So, when I'm going to look and see what's in store for you for 2026, I am also going to be focusing on those wounds because remember, you're the alchemist of your life. And so, and then we'll look and see, obviously, with your connection, if you're going to do anything or are you going to meet somebody else. Let's see. It's all about you. So I wanted to first look and see what does Spirit want us to know? What should we even be focused on as we move into 2026? Spirit says, nourish your body with the right foods is healthy, but not if you deprive yourself of enjoyment. So finding balance. You might be someone that I feel like is like, no, I'm going to start the year off and I'm going to be on this health kick and I'm going to, lose 20 pounds and, puts all these, you know, expectations onto yourself. And so what'll happen is you won't be consistent. So I feel like one of the spiritual lessons of the year is learning spiritual balance. Like it's not all or nothing. And so you find that you might be like, no, if I have candy or chocolate or whatever it is in the house, I'll eat the whole thing. So practice by buying smaller things. It's as you heal, what you'll notice is that your palate changes. Really, when you spiritually heal, you want your body actually craves different food. I know because I had a lot of spiritual blockages and I used to eat Taco Bell and eat all these other energies. And then I went into holistic health school. And as I learned, as I healed, my palate changed. Did that mean I all of a sudden wanted to eat every single green? No. What it meant was I would tolerate them. I used to not even like look at them, a vegetable, unless it was corn, and corn's not a vegetable. But, anything green, forget it. Now, what I find, my body craves it sometimes. Do I love the way it tastes? And still, the answer is no. I might put a lot of seasoning on it to deal with it, but when your body needs something. So, whatever tools, skills, and abilities you need to accomplish your life's purpose, you already have them. So, you may be like, I'm just lost in like my direction right now. I feel like I'm not enough. I feel like I'm not good enough. Maybe I need to change something. And Spirit is saying, it's like, start where you are. Is mastery comes doing. And this means also for balance within your life. Like, if you're like in a place of, I don't know, I'm really not liking my job, the relationship really isn't working out, there's a little bit of this type of energy of like uncertainty. So Spirit says it all starts with you, how you treat yourself. So again, the foods that you eat, the thoughts that you have, part of reconditioning your mind is you have to do different rituals. And the ritual might be every morning I eat breakfast in front of my vision board. Then I do a little breath work. Then I have a little, I do my affirmation cards. to recondition the body and mind. And Spirit's saying, like, the answers are inside of you, but if you're so stressed out, being like, there's something wrong, you're not going to feel like you can access that information, is what Spirit is saying. Healing your projections will help you avoid co creating discorded situations. So, if there's imbalanced situations happening, like within your relationship, we need to look at your wounds, is what Spirit is saying. Um, so, I want to pull from another deck. Again, we're looking at the wounds, remember, to see what could be the blockages for the future. Because really, you're the alchemist of your life. But if we get stuck in the blocks, then we tend to not. So it's for you. I feel like it's all about right now building internal strength, but there's also a call to really, again, pay attention more to the physical body. And I say that because, again, that helps us be present. Talking about food, how we treat ourselves, is what really Spirit's saying. It's like you're really stronger than what you perceive that you are. So, and the reoccurring cycle, I'm going to look at. Like, I felt like I'm missing a deck. Am I? No, just my imagination. Let's see. So Spirit's saying betrayal wounds. So if you, have been betrayed before, then this is a really deep wound. And so it shows up as deep mistrust, making you question others' intentions and struggle to form genuine bonds where you feel like you're trying, but then you attract people that are like surface, like that you really can't trust them. And so understand like that when that happens, it's really hard to open up. And so Spirit's saying the betrayal wound will make you not trust yourself in the long run. So the connection to the physical body, we go back to the physical body where Spirit's saying, no one can hurt you, no one can stop you. But if you were betrayed, and betrayment can be seen as having a parent that's mean to you, that's a narcissist, that deliberately gets in your way. There's a little bit of that energy, like, because again, we're at Spirit saying, I'm asking you to clear your blocks as we move into 2026. And the block is because you were betrayed, you don't trust. And Spirit says, but God lives inside of you as a gift to the Holy Spirit. Trust doesn't come from your own discernment. It comes from being able to discern that God is speaking to you in the moment, in the now, and that you have to obey it and act on it. But if you don't trust yourself, then and there's betrayal because, hey, those past experience really happen, and then you get around people that overstimulate you, then you're not as grounded. Then there's a sense of seeing what we look for because you become hyper vigilant. So you don't really feel strong within yourself. So the connection to the physical body is going to help you get strong within yourself. Why? Because God's inside of you. So only in the now do you get the divine guidance through gut intuition, inner knowing. When you're in the body, you have discernment because, hey, that's through claircognizance, which is, I don't know how I knew, but I just knew I couldn't trust that person. I knew I had to get the hell out of there. I knew, it's again that butterfly, that ping, your heart might even get expanded a little bit, but everything's telling you you got to do something. And that's the call to action, tells you, hey, this isn't mind chatter. It's go time. And so again, trusting in yourself, that we go with the flow of life because again of that relationship that you have with the higher self. However, but if you grew up in an environment where you were always in survival, you were taught not to trust yourself because part of that is, again, someone that gaslights you, someone that talks down to you. Again, the environment is making you not feel safe. So when children don't feel safe, they, can't really do anything except for detach, right? So there's a lot of guilt and shame. And shame, when there's betrayal, there a wound, there's always going to be shame. Because again, that's really how it plays out, where there's a sense of feeling like there's something wrong. The guilt is feeling bad about, oh, like, look, I messed up. I have shame. I'm a bad person. There's something wrong with me. I'm unworthy. I'm not good enough. You see those energies? Those energies are not in alignment with God. And God says, hey, no, that shouldn't be inside of you. I'm supposed to actually be inside of you as a gift of the Holy Spirit. I don't know what the fuck that is, but that's taking my seat. That needs to get out. And because you don't know, I'm going to make you create the same type of experiences. You're like, well, what can I do? And God said, I already told you. Get a better connection to the physical body. Only in the now do you get divine guidance. You again get the lack of connection to the body. Why is it weak? Because you grew up in survival, because of betrayal. Again, I had the eyes in the back of my head. It's again, Spirit says you weren't in your body. So again, what helped you survive will not help you thrive. And again, we have to do it. And then there's a fear of the future. Oh my God, what if it's not going to happen? God says, don't do my job. Do your job. Be like childlike. Again, put your energy where you need to create yourself. Again, and that's through your passion. You should know this already. Your passion for life. Otherwise, you don't have a connection with God. That's first of all. You don't, because you get to see God work through you, through gut intuition and knowing. You get to see it work through the environment. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. And all you got to be is like childlike. But you weren't allowed to be like child. So you might be like, that's hard. I don't know what that looks like. What am I supposed to do? And Spirit says, well, it doesn't mean that you're going to become like a baby. Again, what it means, go out and have fun. What's calling you? Where are your passions? Jesus died for your passion for life. And that's the level. You're not even having a good time. Spirit's saying it's like, and that's kind of seems like a waste. While there's afraid of being vulnerable, difficulty opening up, being judged, again, rejected. It comes back to the same thing of rejection, rejection, rejection. So Spirit says you have to reparent that. And you reparent it. Um, well, we already know through creating a new life, and that's by becoming more grounding, because there's a grounding deficit, as Spirit keeps saying, which is not in the body. So you're in past experience of what might happen, what could happen. Everything's designed to keep you safe. And that actually keeps you stuck in that energy, where it's not about that. It's about not detaching and disassociating, grounding yourself. It was a survival mechanism. Maybe it's more comfortable because you find that you're hyper vigilant then when you're like too locked in. So, but now Spirit says, but now you went too far the other way. It's not one way or the other that you're going to be like tapped in or then, spaced out. It's to be balanced. Spirit said, hey, that's the walk. Remember, that's how the reading opened up. That's going to be, you're going to need to learn balance. And balance comes from being in a balanced life. But for you, it also means more grounding. You're not balanced. It's like all the energy can't be up in your head and what you feel. It has to be, again, interactive of life. Otherwise you stay fragmented, and that's really what Spirit's saying. It's like, again, needing to integrate all facets of oneself, because there's still detachment and disassociation from, hey, the childhood traumas that played out within other relationships where you felt betrayed. So there's a sense of, I don't know. It's like because of that, where Spirit says you have to find yourself, go into uncharted waters, but continue to build like a connection, a relationship with that higher self, that God part of self. It's like where you don't feel safe. And that's really what it comes down to. I don't feel safe. It's like because people, and spirit says, well, you have to get a better connection to your physical body because in the now is when you get divine guidance. So you would have discernment if someone was actually going to do something, but there's a sense of you feeling like maybe I'm going to freeze, like not know, because at one time that happened in childhood. So there's still this sense of, hey, sometimes when I feel that I need to do something, I don't do it. So again, building a better connection to the higher self, the God part of self, and also the physical body. So spirit saying, well, because what happens is then you get a blocked crown chakra where yet everyone has clear cognizance, which is, I don't know how I knew that. It's blocked, doesn't work all the time because you're not grounded. Then you need to again build a better connection to the physical body and then actually go into the unknown where no one knows you. Why? Because no past judgments, create that sacred space, however, to tune in to your higher self, that God part of self. And, may have small term goals, long term goals. But some people find that doing the Psalms are very protective, right? Again, the Psalms are known to keep evil spirits away and to keep enemies away, to make sure that you're covered in the light. If with that betrayal wound, right? Again, you're wired to be like, I'm not safe, but you don't realize if you grew up that way, you become prone to negative spirits because we're not supposed to be like afraid all the time. You have to fill yourself up. You fill yourself up with a passion for your life, becoming the energy of unconditional love. You become the energy of the universe. That's the energy of the universe. And then you're divinely protected. You don't have to worry. There's this illusion of I'm not safe, and spirit says, but you are safe. It's the illusion that you're not safe. So you have to get back into your physical body because again, because that's what trauma will do. Trauma will make you, focus more on that. And spirit says, I don't need you to focus on that. I need you to focus on like releasing the beliefs that no longer serve you from those experiences, which is that you're not safe. And I want you to, again, love yourself, learn how to love yourself. And I would say, live your authentic self, to be true to yourself, and that takes time, but it happens through finding yourself, but we don't want to just go out and try and find friends when we have a betrayal wound because you won't realize, that you'll create the same thing where it's like this fear. You say, well, why? Well, if you're too nice, too giving, don't set boundaries. You're just maybe easygoing, then people tend to not value you, or people have different perceptions. We don't know. A lot of times people come in and they will act like they want to be your best friend, and they stay long enough just to find out enough about you. And then again, not feeling safe. That betrayal will play out within friendships. It will also play out within, romantic relationships, which we always see on my channel. So Spirit's saying there's that wound that needs to be looked at. We want to clear that when we go into 2026. And that's to balance the body and mind, because what you just saw is spirit saying, well, the person's not in their body, so they're not getting the divine guidance. There's a disconnect from me, from the higher self, the God part of self. And that God part of self is what gives us discernment. It's what gives us life. It makes us supernatural. It makes us be able to create our heaven on earth. When you see a painter and you're like, wow, look at that. How you do that? They did it a million hours every day. And they became it. They became it. They became it. They became it. When you see somebody that is so talented, like an Olympic player, they do like a million like backflips and the split and the tumble salt. And then, meanwhile, I can barely walk down the stairs without tripping over my feet. And this person's doing all that. How they do that? Spirit said, well, they started when they were 2. And now they're like 15. That's 15 years of doing it, of falling and getting up and doing it every day and 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 every day. Mastery comes in doing, God says. So you have to have a passion for life. Where is your passion for life? It should be on the level of how Christ crucified himself for you, for that love, for you. Really, God's saying your passion for life should match that. And I know a lot of people are not doing that. They're like looking at their jobs, being like, listen, I wouldn't even give that person a fucking tic tac. Never mind, do that. It's like I wouldn't give them a glass of water. It's like where that's the job, that's the energy. And so again, we can see why, you'd be blocked up. So it always starts with you. You can't change other people, but you change yourself, Spirit says. So doing things like yoga, doing things like body mind work, doing things like somatic healing is going to be very beneficial for you. Hey, maybe it brings you to your soul's path. Every master starts off as a disaster. Don't do God's job, do your job. The path unfolds while you're on it. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. You don't need to drive the car because Jesus took the wheel. All you need to do is show up and be present and be knowing that you're not here by mistake. You're here by God's glorious design. And Spirit says, and that is what's going to release the chains that bind you. That is how you're going to become delivered. And that's when you're going to find your tribe. It's like Spirit says, I know that you need like real people that connect to you. But hey, if you were, smushed down, and we don't know because we didn't even look at the inner child wounds yet because we're kind of going backwards. I don't know if you noticed that. That's how Spirit decided to take us. It took us a long way around this time. We're stuck in a roundabout. Fucking roundabout. The fuck? Who made up that? It's so stupid. Try driving with a GPS just go past them the roundabout. All you do is you just drive around in a circle for about 2 hours. See the same fucking people and the same thing. It's like stuck in the roundabout. All right. So Spirit's saying the wounds. Well, rage, suppression, support, suppression, disassociation. Oh, so it was easy for you to stay detached, is what Spirit's saying. It's like, hey, growing up with a rageful parent, being like growing up with somebody that was always angry is definitely going to suppress your energy because you're going to be like, well, I don't know whether it's safe to say, what I have to say. So suppressing yourself. And there was a lack of support. But we're not just seeing suppressed. What we're seeing is like repressed. This oppression is that energy is going to stay repressed, meaning like to survive, I had to stay detached, disassociated is what Spirit's saying. Like that was part of your survival. So again, people tend to like not perceive you like as strong within yourself because hey, like again, like you're not paying as much attention, you're not as engaged, you're not as, and so people pick up on like maybe you're not as interested. They get their own preconceived notions, and also it triggers them to like perceive that you're someone that you're not. So Spirit says it all starts with learning to love yourself. We start where we are, God says. We can't start somewhere else. And we have to create the support for ourselves. Now, the support comes from doing those things, again, knowing that you're protected, but It's also about healing those wounds of detachment. And you were used to being suppressed. You were to the point that there's a lot of wounds there that you don't even know, because hey, in order to survive, you had to. So there's a sense of always money issues coming out, because money has no energy. It's the energy that we give it. And if there's a lack of grounding and a lack of connection to feeling safe and not feeling worthy, because that's always the energy, and that's repressed energy. That's someone that's oppressing you, making you feel that you're not worthy because they're angry. And again, you're not being safe and feeling safe, and again, disassociating as a way to deal with that as a child. So believing that you're not worth, because money again does not have energy except for the energy we're given it. So if we're always living karmic themes that are making us feel unworthy, spirit says you need deliverance healing. It's again because that's a negative spirit, and sometimes it's you inherited it. It's what happened, ancestral karma. Well, what happened to great great grandpa? Well, he was living on a plantation. He was hung. Was hung. Yeah, that's what happened. And what happened to great grandma? Well, she was born during depression. She starved to death. That's why she's, saved. You know, she saves everything. She was a hoarder before she died. It's, again, these energies are covenants that we don't talk about. But again, when you inherited ancestral karma, that's what you're inheriting. You're not just inheriting their gifts, and you're inheriting their pain, their wounds, their collective karma for what has happened. So when you say, "Why does the world look so fucked up?" Well, that's why. That's what spiritual warfare is. It's a war that attacks your mind. It attacks yourself about what you perceive that you can have. That's why you got to fill yourself up with the Holy Spirit. You have to. You have to have a relationship with God. Otherwise, you're not going to feel safe. Safe comes from trusting in a higher thing, something bigger than you. Source. Because Spirit God says, I was with you the whole time, even though you grew up that way. You'd be like, well, that was horrible how you were with me the whole time. That was the most horrible experience. Spirit says, well, we grow the most in the fire, in the struggle of life. It's again, that's when you become refined. That's when life isn't supposed to be strong. That's what, the Psalms teach us. The Psalms teach us that, life is hard. Life is imbalanced. That life, earth is negative. It's not the energy that we are. So we're constantly fighting battles that are like spiritual, and we don't know it. And that it comes through subliminal messages, whether it's through things that we're listening to on the radio or things that we're watching on TV or whatever it is, we're not aware of it. And so, again, it changes our mind. So, unless we're rooted in something much greater than us, well, then you become part of the world, and you're not supposed to be part of the world. You're supposed to be in the world without being a part of it, and you're in the world through sharing your contribution of who you are and whatever you choose to do. And Spirit God says that you are always with Source. So you have gifts when you're always with Source. Understand that. And so, people will not understand it. But the support that you're looking for, which again, what makes us feel safe is the support comes from God, that comes from loving yourself. Otherwise, you can't really integrate the spiritual lesson. But Spirit's saying to ground and to heal. If you, again, do that, you're golden. You're golden because the tests that you are going to get this year, the karmic lessons, are going to require you to be grounded, for you to trust yourself, for you to you know, take the time to build a stronger connection to the physical body. Understand if you lived in trauma, things are automatic. It's not that easy just to change. We just change. It's you created habits and behaviorism. So the best way is to create a daily practice for yourself. Get up in the morning, do body mind work, do breath work, do some sort of somatic healing, sit in front of a vision board, do affirmations, get delivered, meaning like heal. I do that within my coaching. And that's only if you're like, I've been living the same experiences now, like it's the same thing over and over and over again. And that's when you see that your parents lived it and you see that you're living it, and it could be financial problems, relationship problems. Well, understand we can heal the fragmented parts, but if you are empty inside, meaning the house is clean, you cleaned it and you tidied it all up. Well, what do you think? That spirit that you got rid of is just going to come back with his ancestors and say, oh, look at this. They cleaned up the place and they stocked the refrigerator. Come on, everybody. I mean, and that's what you're doing when you don't get delivered. So you have to get delivered because fragmentation creates that energy. So we can heal the trauma, which we want to heal the trauma because the trauma is what keeps you stuck in that karmic loop as well. But the stronghold is the spirit. Okay, so spirit saying those are the things that you need to do for you to be golden. Now let's look and see what is this person's intention. But if we have betrayal wounds, I don't like it before I even look at it. And the reason why is because there's betrayal wounds. So it's like very rarely it does. It's like, oh, my relationship looks so good. It usually looks like a damn roller coaster. Or because you're like both parties, usually with a betrayal wound, have betrayal. You might say, well, no, that person betrays me all the time. Well, it will play out like that. Again, we see what we look for. So again, some of the energy as well. I feel like this person had a lot of expectations, and you have expectations, and that would happen when there's a lot of passion and there's a connection and the person feels like home on some level. You would have expectations, and which would not be met, by the way. But I feel like this person also gaslit, and part of that was, well, you fell in love with a part of me that doesn't really exist. That's number one. And number two, I'm not 100% healed. So we know that they have habits and behaviorisms. It doesn't mean that this person doesn't have feelings. We have to look at more of a generic deck. Let's see what I'm afraid of losing you. So when you want to know where they are right now, they are afraid of losing you, but they run away to avoid facing problems. So we know that this person wasn't balanced. They had expectation, and I think part of that expectation was that you were going to fix them, that you were going to heal them, that you were going to be there regardless of what, because of this very strong spiritual connection. Now, remember, when a person doesn't actually take the time to get to know you, then they're mainly up in their head. They're not grounded. And so they're more in the fantasy level. Spirit says, see the non-groundedness. Note that. Note how there's a second chakra imbalance. But does that mean the person doesn't have feelings? No, they have feelings, but they're toxic. And they're toxic because, hey, if you don't meet my expectations, then I feel like this person, like, they get so diluted and triggered that they affect you mentally, want to because they get mad. And that's what happens when a person is reliving a spiritual block. right? Are they living what's really happening? No, they're basing it on the past, or what they, based on the past, but also what they thought that you were, what you should be, what you could be, but not really who you are, and also not a balanced relationship either, not one of give and take reciprocity. Right? I mean, that because that's what you want. Now you would assume, hey, yeah, well, I thought that that's the type of relationship that this person would want. Who the hell would want the relationship that they were offering? They're gonna sit there and act like they don't know. And Spirit says it goes back to betrayal. And that's how this started. So it's again that um I don't believe that this person sets off to betray you. But when a person has a lot of spiritual blockages and they're not really coming from what's happening in life, they're coming from whatever's transpired. So again, they're going to react and create the same thing because we see what we look for. That's why it's like it's a way, but it's betrayal of themselves. They betray themselves, and as a result they betray you. But if we look from a spiritual perspective, what is this person like? If they were clear and didn't have any blocks, again, they daydream about you. That's the problem. They daydream about you, and sometimes it's sexual, other times they visualize their future with you, but that's not real. And that's what I'm trying to explain to you, that it's fantasy. It's like, and so if you don't meet that expectation, it's like, how dare you almost? And that's, it's not grounded. So this person will not even see, really look and see how they treat you. You know, because of you, I'm starting to see what is really important in my life. So it's again, it's not like they don't have feelings for you. It's not like you don't make an impact on them, but it's again how they expect you to treat them. And possibly because, hey, I'm perceiving you as being this, you know, perfect person, kind of putting you on a pedestal, assuming that you're like this person. But, you know, this person is starting to see that a lot of things aren't making sense in their life right now. You know, it's almost like they're going through an awakening. So they might not be doing anything. Yeah, because this person is, they were on a very low vibration. They don't feel deserving, and it affects their levels of abundance and openness. So what you see here is a person that doesn't feel good about themselves, that pretended a little bit to be someone that they weren't. And then it does have this strong attraction to you, but it's all in the fantasy level because they haven't taken the time to actually build the intimacy because, again, they don't trust themselves. So, again, the betrayal. And the betrayal is because you're supposed to fix me, as I said. Didn't I say that? You're supposed to fix me. You're supposed to heal me. You're supposed to. That's the imagination. You know, they're also imagining that you answer the door naked for all I know. I mean, but are you going to do that? You know, that you're going to come to the door with a frying pan and, you know, and with food in it, naked and holding a puppy, you know, I mean, come on. It's like, take the time to actually get to know me. It's like this person has issues with themselves, which is what the problem is. It has nothing to do with you, Spirit saying. Um, but, you know, it creates a lot of problems where I feel like this person and you are tempted a lot of times to disconnect from source, you know, like almost like, hey, the same thing keeps happening over and over and over and over again, you know, like with relationship. Why would I pull like a person like this to me? You know, it's fucked up. You know, I feel this way about myself. Like, why? And it's like, if there was a God, why wouldn't God fix it? And Spirit saying it's again, if you notice, God will never talk while you're taking the test. So he's going to be quiet. And Spirit saying it's again, this person does have feelings for you. It's not like they don't, but they have also been betrayed in life. So they don't feel deserving. They don't like who they are. They pretend to be someone else. And in that, I can't really, I'm not living my life because I pretend to be someone that I'm not. So I can never really have you come that close. Because if you saw me, you wouldn't like me. That's what, again, that betrayal is rooted in. And so this person, what you saw was somebody that pretended to be someone that they weren't, but was cocky about it, that or acted like they didn't care when they did care. That they got in their own way. They sabotaged the connection, and they also ask people too much their opinion. So this person doesn't really trust themselves. And you wouldn't trust yourself if you weren't grounded and you're coming from the past and you don't take the time to actually get to know the person, but you're fantasizing about them. And remember, it's how much time and energy you put into something. So this person has built an emotional bond to you. But I don't think that they know how to deal with that. It's almost like, again, they put you on a pedestal. You're beautiful inside and out. And I felt that it's almost like you're gonna heal me, you're gonna change me, you're gonna fix me, you're gonna but when you don't and you don't want to, and you don't act the way that they want you to act, they're gonna act out. And that's the thing. And that's what you saw. And so again, I want to talk to you, but I'm not sure I'm ready to share everything and give you the answers that you need. So they're still again guarding their heart. They're still, on a spiritual level. And they've been grounded all their life. It's hard for them to trust the spiritual elements. I don't think that they're grounded at all. And but what they feel is that there's someone that it's feels the spiritual connection. They just can't logic it. So when it says grounded, this person might be good in business. They might be good like in those type of things, but they're definitely not grounded when it comes to relationships. And there's a spiritual connection here that they can't figure out, that they can't talk themselves out of. But they can't deny it either. And so that's the whole thing. And it scares this person. They say that they're not gonna give into it, but they are. And what you also see is again that this person feels like, well, this relationship is too good to be true. So they tend to pull away in fear, which is again betrayal. And they also have, karmic people like that are like where they don't really want to be, but it's like they're not whole within themselves. They're not strong within themselves. So whether they're living with a person, whether or not they're just dating that person, whether there's people on the back burner, it's like this person is acting like they don't care. They're acting like they're so strong, but they're not so strong because guess what? They're emotionally getting fed from other people and they're asking those same people for advice, which are not giving them good advice, which by the way, is part of that betrayal energy that this person doesn't trust themselves, they don't like themselves. So, again, surrounding themselves with people that are really not positive, that are just going to drain them, that don't have this person's best interest at hand. And so, you're seeing, again, how they're treating you, but they're treating you in betrayal. But are they doing it? Or are they listening to other people doing it? Yeah, they're doing it, but it's almost like, do they know what they're doing? Because they're in fantasy land. So it doesn't make sense. And Spirit says, and it's not going to because they're not grounded and their third eye and their crown chakra is blocked. So they're not listening to source and they're coming from that wound. And so understand, Spirit says, everyone that comes into your life is coming into your life to help you, whether it's a day, a season, or a lifetime. So, yes, there's a spiritual connection. But if it's not grounded in anything, it doesn't mean anything, is what's the whole spiritual lesson is. And Spirit says, everyone attracts people that they're going to learn from. And so you incarnated together to clear specific patterns from your ancestral bloodline. This person grew up in betrayal. You grew up in betrayal. You grew up not trusting, they grew up not trusting. You were not as grounded, they were not as grounded. But I feel like they might have been more grounded when it came to business and other things like that. But when it came to relationship, that person is like not. And so, they're wounded. It doesn't mean that there isn't a connection. There's a connection, but it doesn't mean anything if it's not rooted, because it's not going to be a healthy relationship, is what you know. And that's what Spirit's saying. It's like until they actually do the work, this is the worst wound that you could actually have, because they were comfortable doing it. Well, that says something about their character. It says something about how close that they're really going to allow you to get in their life. Because when we have an intimate relationship with someone and really let them in and we bear who we are, we don't want to just dispose of the person. This person never really let you in because they don't like who they are. So that alone is betrayal, you know? And so that's really what Spirit's saying. It's not like the person doesn't care. It's when hurt people hurt people. And it's about you healing right now. And yeah, because this person, like in the end of the day, is like you're always going to feel like they have a looming agenda, and you're going to feel like you can't really see for yourself. And that's what they're banking on. It's like, because it's not that there aren't feelings, but the person is like going to be all about the bedroom, but it's going to be shallow. Nobody wants that, to be in a relationship that's turbulent. And that's the best that it would do. The Spirit says, oh, because the person does have feelings, but the relationship would be horrible all the time. It would be like, on, off, and turbulent. And because the person needs healing. So it's not about you. It's about your healing that you need to do for you, which Spirit says is you're not grounded. You need to also clear your crown chakra because of the experiences that you went through. Now we might say, well, can we actually ask, is there going to be somebody new? Because it's just about healing. I mean, I get it, but like I just want to know. It's like, is it going to be somebody else? Is there somebody? Well, the Spirit says yes. Again, eventually there will be a relationship, and I feel like it's going to be about 6 months down the line. But in the meantime, Spirit says, it's not about you worrying. It's about you focusing on your future, is what Spirit's saying. That's what you need to do. That you're not trapped. It's like it might be a sense of like, I feel like restricted. I feel like I don't have enough. I feel like, and betrayal will do that. Because it plays out within all areas of your life. It becomes a root chakra imbalance because you don't feel safe. And the connection to the physical body and God is how you feel safe. So again, Spirit saying, so you're not going to see good anywhere until you heal it. You have to do it. And understand God makes a way where there is no way just for you. So, hey, while you're healing yourself, you find yourself, and understand there's a story of who you think you are, then there's a real story of who you truly are, is how God displays its glory. You wouldn't have a relationship. So don't judge your process, Spirit's saying. It's again, stability is coming. Look, stability and fucking stability. All right? It's coming. It's coming. Don't get in your own way. Do what you need to do for yourself for 2026. And the Spirit says, and like I said, you'll be golden, because really it's about being strong within yourself. In the moment, only in the now do you get divine guidance. It's about having a relationship with God. It's about, creating yourself. It's about giving and receiving of love. And that's the energy of God, unconditional love. When a person's like an ice skater, right? Hey, their contribution to humanity is, hey, I entertain people through my ice skating. And look how great they are. It's like, and they're able to achieve goals, and it opens up new opportunities. And that's just one thing. We could do it in every single area of life. If you're a teacher and be like, well, I don't make enough money. It's again, you could always do a side hustle, and you could teach like online. You could become a speaker. It's the knowledge that you have. A lot of times it's about repurposing, like the good stuff that you've acquired and created within yourself, but then channeling it out differently. Spirit says it's about not judging the future, again being grounded. Spirit says see the mountains ahead and dedicate yourself to taking one small step at a time. Make progress by staying focused and present on the moment, only in the now. Remember, grounded is what Spirit says. The current task, and that you regain your ease of living. Life is easy because, hey, you have discernment. It's like, but you have to get balanced. And that's when then you find your inner strength. Spirit says that nothing will move you from your path to light because that you have complete confidence in yourself, that you realize that your innate qualities and abilities, and know that with God, you can do anything. And all the power that you need is within inside of yourself. The illusion is that it's not when you've been betrayed, when that has happened. It's like there's a sense of, I can't trust myself. And God says, yes, you can, because I'm inside of you. Get out of your head and get into your body. And again, do the healing that, again, grounding exercises. So when we're looking at grounded, the Spirit says that we have to clear that root chakra. There's always usually betrayal from mother and father. Maybe they didn't show up. Maybe there was addiction. Maybe, again, doesn't matter. We tend to get caught up in the story, but Spirit says what needs to be integrated is a better connection to Mother Earth, Father up in heaven. That's the God that resides inside of you, and a better connection to your physical body is what Spirit's saying. That otherwise, you don't just have a block within the first chakra, you're going to have blocks within every chakra. And that's out of alignment, where really Spirit says unity consciousness is collective consciousness, and we all have that. It's again, so reconditioning yourself might be doing like a meditation every day, forcing yourself to slow down and understand it's a process. You might only be able to do like 2 minutes one day, and then other days you might be able to do 10 minutes. And then the more that you build, it's about doing breath work to, again, learn how to be present. It's about doing mindful meditation to be present and learning not to react, to be strong within your body, to weight lifting. That's what I did, because in the breath, that triggers the automatic nervous system to shut off, the parasympathetic nervous system to, again, to click on, like, right, to get us into a place of rest and digest when we're open to receiving. Otherwise, when we don't feel safe, we're not breathing. We're like, oh my God, I'm nervous. Let me get out of here. We feel all tense. And so Spirit's saying the breath, because if you don't feel safe, you go up in your mind. Get back in your body and understand, get a better connection to God. And that's through doing a daily, like some sort of daily meditation, and being open to it. And you're open to it is that everyone forms their own relationship with the higher self. And that's through what you see within your environment, is what happens in your day, is that you're realizing that everything that's happening in your life is happening for a reason, and is all to help you evolve into the best version of yourself, including the energy like betrayal. It's tricky energy. It makes you be like, oh my God, I'm going to be tricked. The Spirit says, they can't trick you. So again, the devil has to flee when you're filled with the Holy Spirit. That's number one. Get a better connection to your body. It's again, because in the moment you'll have discernment. You have discernment. And then that's when you'll be called to act or react or do in the right time, in divine time. Otherwise, we're nervous and we're not in our body, and we wind up sabotaging ourselves because we react instead of, you know, react in accordance. Spirit says no one can stop you. Only you can stop you. Remember that. So again, how would you get stopped? By emotionally letting someone take you off your path, by um, being around people that don't have your best interest at hand, by, like I said, so stay on track. And once you stay on track, Spirit says you're going to see the prosperity. You're going to see that you broke that karmic cycle, because being in the energy of betrayal, you're not going to see any money. You're not going to see no money. If you're not feeling strong within yourself and you don't like yourself, you can see no money. You're going to, again, like live that karmic theme. And Spirit says that could have been just inherited, but it's that like you're due to break that covenant, is what Spirit's saying, within 2026. But to ensure it, you know what to do, because I pounded it into your head enough times. And if you don't remember, rewind the fucking video and listen to it, because your success is going to ride on it. I'm going to leave that there. You let me know how you resonated. Hey, Debbie, I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.